So I'm Kris. I'm a Fort Worth, Texas-based artist showing this exhibition, Party Line. It's going to be up until January 8th of 2023. The sort of larger idea of the exhibition came out of a internet phenomenon that psychologists have started referring to as main character syndrome. In the center of that really is this project, Vampire Jukebox, which is a two-component sculpture and video projection that I would call the center of the exhibition. The central work in the exhibition, Vampire Jukebox, is really the main component that's tapping into this larger idea of main character syndrome. And what that is it's when people start to act out their lives on the internet as if they were the main character in a movie, a fictionalized version of their life. This really ties into the larger idea of the exhibition, which is this sense of American individualism, how that taps into American identity. Obviously, individualism is one of the central themes of how we would define American individuality. And myself as an artist has just been interested in the ways that manifests itself over long periods of time. The work, or this central theme of main character syndrome inside of this specific work, Vampire Jukebox, is really relating to a more contemporary manifestation of that. So the way that it really presents itself is through two components. There's the projection, and there's the sculptural component. The projection is really the center of the work. It runs inside of a game engine, so it's real time. There's constantly updating data that's presented in the video through live Twitter feeds. So every time that a scene refreshes, which is about every 4 minutes, you have a new set of tweets that's attaching itself to these NPCs or non-playable characters that are sort of meandering inside of the space. In addition to that, there's a live feed going from the sculpture, the physical sculpture, into the projection. And the physical sculpture is actually live feeding a queued up set of TikTok videos that are all hashtag main character TikTok videos. So there's a robotic component that's part of the sculpture that's continually cycling through these videos. And in very much the same way that the Twitter updates are constantly cycling out, these videos are constantly cycling out each time. Each time. So you can revisit the piece each day, and you're going to get a different set of videos. It's going to be a different experience, but it very much ties into the zeitgeist of what's happening in regards to this presentation of identity or individualism as it exists inside of digital space. So in addition to that, there's a lot of other works in the exhibition that are a combination of painting and video and sculpture. A lot of the imagery in that work comes out of 1950s and 1960s comics. I very much think of the material that I use, or the imagery that I use in the work and the paintings from a material standpoint. There is sort of an aesthetic nostalgia that it does retrieve for people that are viewing the work. But at the same time, I do think that each image carries a certain degree of history or material nature to it that I think is important, and it's very much considered when deciding what I use in the painting. So a lot of the work uses imagery from these 1950s and 60s, specifically chauvinist style cartoons where the masculine character is presented as the main character with all other people surrounding him, side characters, for lack of a better term. And I think that this has just perpetuated this ideal, this behavior when it comes to masculine culture over a number of decades into a sphere that can become dangerous, narcissistic, and reflect back on society through politics, through just identity, alpha male identity, and things to that nature. It's really about exploring the ways that this larger theme of identity, and specifically in terms of American identity, have related and presented itself through imagery and through media across a long period of time, over the course of at least 7 to 8 decades at this point. And that's really just done in an effort to see these themes emerge, evolve, and the different ways that they present themselves over that period of time. Way of looking back is a very important thing to do, in my opinion. If we can sort of scrutinize the way that image sharing or the presentation of identity has evolved and presented itself in the past, we can probably, in all likelihood, have a better understanding about how that relates to our present contemporary life, social dynamics, and the way that things will look like as we move forward.